Okay, and we're live. It's so strange to me that audio doesn't play in the intro, but this should be a fun show, to say the very least. I've got Casey here with me right now, as always. We've asked Pinata to join. The first topic, Pinata might be a little bit quiet on, and quite honestly, the second one, YouTube, you might have to figure out where else you need to go, because we're probably not going to be able to talk about this on YouTube, just to be honest with you, because we're going to talk about the election. But so you guys say hello. Hopefully Breaking will join us too. I've DM'd him and asked him to jump in to kind of help Pinata out, because he's going to talk about the election, and Breaking knows a lot more about it than I do. But say hello, Casey.
Hello, everybody.
I'll say, I don't know if Pinata's, I think, over there taking notes.
I'm here, and so just I think it's funny to share. I literally just went on about a 15-minute. Is that accurate, or is that 10 minutes? How
Probably
long
about
was it?
10 minutes.
I went on a 10 minutes speech on the election stuff where I thought we were live. So
I'll stop talking because they were going to talk out the conversation. But this time we just asked him to jump in at the last minute.
No, come on.
Right.
I'm totally joking.
No,
I am not in the least bit upset.
No, let me finish what I'm saying. So Pinata starts talking about it, and then I was like, all right, well, make sure you can say all that one after we go live. He's like, we're not live. I was like, no, dude, we gotta go live right now. He's like, you're kidding me. So it was
all so profound.
Yeah, Pinata's good. He's not chirping. It was just funny. And there's Breaking. Oh God, I gotta have that window. Is that window still not hidden? Say hi, Breaking.
Oops.
Say hi, Breaking. Hi, Breaking.
Hey, Breaking. Good to see you.
Hey, feels like I'm channel hopping here tonight.
It's going to be a shit show.
Oh, fantastic.
Listen, did you hear any of what I just said? Poor Pinata. God, he's going to appreciate you being here more than anybody. Okay, so let me tell Breaking. He doesn't even know. Guess what? These two gentlemen are here to help us discuss tonight. You ready? You ready, two guys? My most analytical think tanks that I know, the most straight shooters. We're going to talk about transgenders in prisons.
Oh, man. Are you serious?
Oh, y'all can thank me later out there in chat. Who sent me this article, Breaking? You want to tell anybody who sent me the article?
Yeah, but I don't know that it makes us experts on it.
He knows that I follow this stuff really heavily. I've also, just to give you an example, I talked to Casey about it briefly before the show, but I have all this stuff from if you remember Ninja Warrior, he did an awesome thread on the Tavistock. So I do keep up with the Tavistock Institute, and that's who's pushing kind of this agenda. So Breaking, when he comes across something like this, he will think of me. But this is kind of like one of those situations where it's like, go woke, get broke. Well, this is like go woke and then get sexually assaulted. Okay, now they're screaming fire in the building. Because what's happening, you can imagine, all of us tinfoil hat crazy people tried to warn you. No. These transgender women, they just want to be in the space they feel the most comfortable. They're not trying to hurt nobody. Now we got women screaming rape. So I don't know. You tell me. So we'll go through this a little bit, and then Pinata's we're going to talk about the election. I'll probably shut down again YouTube, because that's one of those trigger points with YouTube. It's either but we talk about the COVID all the time. I don't really give a shit. So they have been putting all these transgender women in these prisons. So it says another liberal experiment blows up that every rational thinking human could have seen coming. Remember, we're the rational people. On January the 1st, a law went into effect in California foreshadowing Democrats' Equality Act. Equality sounds familiar because it's another name they use for critical race theory, requiring people to be treated according to their gender identity, not biological sex, holding that state prisoners must be housed in a facility consistent with their gender identity, regardless of their anatomy. 6 months later, and guess what has occurred? There have been numerous complaints of assaulted, abused, and traumatized women at the hands of male inmates transferred into their prisons. And one group of traditionally progressive activists, the Women's Liberation Front, has sent a letter to Governor Gavin Newsom's about to be kicked off the damn stage, accusing the state of violating the constitutional rights of incarcerated women by allowing men in their living quarters to prey on women. I'm sorry, allowing who? Isn't that misgendering somebody? See, all of this shit's coming back to bite them in the ass. Wolf Legal Director Lauren Adams said, "We're working with a woman who was punched in the face so hard by a new transfer that she couldn't chew for 3 days. Get woke, need facial surgery." He was taken away and released. Here we go, misgendering some folks again, was taken away and released back into a different yard with no restrictions. He didn't even get a slap on the freaking wrist for making this woman not be able to chew for 3 days. He was her cellmate. She had to sleep with him. Other women have been sexually.
If they're going to handle this thing, what they're going to have to do is put the women together with the women and the men together with the men. And then it's almost as if they already had that thing settled somewhere. I don't know. Maybe like a men's prison and a women's prison. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this thing.
You're overthinking it, son. There's no such thing. Segregated prisons. You crazy. Got anything you want to add, guys? And see what Pinata did. Casey, just do that to me. He'll just kind of like talk and I'll know to shut up. They got something to say.
Okay.
You got anything I want to add?
I mean, how do you confirm somebody's gender identity? Like, how long does somebody have to say that they're like a woman before they're transferred over to a prison? Like, can someone decide mid-stay in their male prison that they just want to like switch to a woman's? You've
never been arrested, have you?
No.
They do this thing called a pat down. Trust me, that pat down officer knows what you got between your legs, girl.
That I know. I can definitely know how you prove gender or that, but like the identity, like if somebody says, well, I identify as a woman, like how do you know like if it's somebody who's just like deciding that day, like I don't like the situation that I'm in and I know I can switch jails or whatever? Like,
well, I wonder what that in there lies the problem that most conservatives push. Is that's the problem. Well, anybody can say that, and then they're transferred to this female prison, and it's just so they can get a cleaner prison and be around women. That's the problem. That's our only issue. We're not trying to be hateful or say that people don't have a right to exist or should be bullied, whatever. Our argument has always been that this right here is the very thing that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Go ahead.
I think the plan is quite a bit more nefarious than this leads on to one to believe. If you think about this, at the end of the day, the leftists, they don't care about you and I or anything. It's about power. It's about control. And it's just a means to an end. Think about what has to happen with, say, those that are on the left that are either Muslim or, let's say, gay. Now, how can they both support the same ideology when the two of those together don't mix? Well, they don't really care at the end of the day. They're going to destroy one another. And it's just a means to control and gain power. This is no different. They don't care how they get there so long as they maintain power, right? This isn't about women's rights. It was never about women's rights from the 60s, 70s forward. No, it was about stealing your money from the Federal Reserve and empowering folks to continue to let them profit off of you. This was just a nice, neat little package that they put in front of everybody to give you hopefully a happy feel-good out of it. To me, this is no different.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pay attention to chat while I was doing it. I don't have the stuff up, so I try to look it on. Okay, I'm going to keep going a little bit, read a little bit more of this of what's happening now that, again, too, and people will subvert religion, it, to bend to their will. I had a long conversation with Casey on Monday because I'm worried for her because she's, like, to me, kind of newer on the journey, or let's say re-journey, that, I don't want her to be I don't want her to feel like that one person has all the answers to religion. That I believe that relationship lies in your heart. I talked a lot about that with her, but anyway. So it says, other women have been sexually abused in the past and must now contend with the nude men sharing communal showers. One woman went in there with 2 naked men showering. Her still had penises. Adam added, well, shocker. No, they don't have, that's not penis. That doesn't mean they're not a woman. It's incredibly traumatic and scary to know for possibly the rest of their lives they are going to be subjected to this. Yahoo News reports that the state currently has 273 transfer requests. Think about that. 273. 266 are from people housed at male institutions requesting to be transferred to female institutions. And 7 are from people at female institutions requesting to be transferred to male institutions, according to the Department of Corrections. That's damn even scarier.
Is there anywhere that says like what the criteria for being approved for transfer is? Like, do you know if that's something that they would have written in California, right, where they made this a law? That's so
Remember, California is a place where now they've pushed it so far that the child in a junior high or high school doesn't even have to tell their parent. The school doesn't even have to notify the parent before they can put these children on hormones. This is the state that is pushed so much so that when everybody tries to tell you that all these kids, these teenagers have to go through all this therapy and 6 months of psychiatrist and all this other stuff to make sure that they are trans, that's all a lie. I can show you hundreds of stories where a kid literally went to see one doctor one day and got prescribed hormones.
And not only that, but they've had propositions now that they've pushed over the last several years, like, what was it, Prop 77, I think it was, that basically takes the parents' right to dictate whether or not your kid gets a jab if they're on school grounds. There was a huge fight over that several years ago, and I think the state ended up winning. So basically, you're just a slave, a mechanism, a means to an end of the state. You're a ward.
So do you think there even is like in this specific situation, like an approval process, or do you think they're just pouring as many people from the male prisons to the female prisons just to get the anarchy started?
Well, I'm going to finish this out because this article's almost over. I'll finish reading it. Literally, I'm at the bottom. And then we'll talk about that because it says right here, it says currently 24 male prisoners have been transferred to female institutions. It's shockingly truthful and sure has to get you canceled comment will theorize that many men transferring into women prisons are not transgender, but are just trying to escape their current living situations. Will shock the hell out of me. A lot of these men checking the box and trying to get transfers are probably trying to save their lives. I wouldn't want to be in the men's prisons, Adam said. All right, then. You're giving them a way to get out of that, but now it's the women who are in danger. Wolf is asking the governor to halt all new transfers and remove the inmates who have already been transferred until safety assessment can be made. Finally, remember Karen. The most famous transgender prison rapist in England is a man calling himself Karen White, who was sent to prison after stabbing a neighbor. Despite a history that included sexual assault, exposure, sexually abusing minors, and cruelty to animals, he ended up in a women's prison where he promptly sexually assaulted women. Look at this. Karen has his penis and sexually assaulted 2 women in prison. 22 more male prisoners are living. But this is Karen. That is not a damn Karen. That's a Craig. Sorry. Okay. So that's the end of it. That's all the whole article. So.
No different than the idiot ass they took from Pennsylvania and threw in over underneath Biden's regime to be over her health. What's her name? That's a dude.
Levine.
It's insanity. These people belong in freaking mental institutions, not in amongst the rest of the population, including the politicians. I'll throw them in too. Psychopaths, narcissists, all of them. Put them all in the same thing.
Well, yeah, that's the problem is people don't really think that somebody will abuse a situation like this. The problem is that you have all these woke people that want to be act like they're woke and act like they're caring and get their victim card, but they're the same ones that if they can dig up something you wrote on Twitter 10 years ago, it's like they get some kind of cancellation badge for their Antifa sash. I don't know. I got somebody canceled. I ruined somebody's life. These are the same people that have pushed this agenda so much so that they want to put men into women's prisons. And even if they refer to themselves as transgender women, they're going to abuse this system. And everybody that has mocked us and said, no, you're just being paranoid. Then it's like women have to get hurt or little boys have to get hurt, whatever the case may be. Somebody has to get hurt repeatedly before that finally that group of persons like, yeah, we might have a problem. But getting them to admit it is the scary part for me. It's like literally serious things have to take place many, many times over a period of time before them to even admit that they might have been wrong. But a bunch.
That's the problem, though, Soko. At the end of the day, they will never admit that they're wrong. When's the last time you ever saw a politician or anybody come out and admit, a policy or a law or anything along those lines was errant? You'll never see it. It's not in them to tell the truth. At the end of the day, they are of their father's seed. Period. They wander around in darkness and they put this garbage out there. They don't care. At the end of the day, they've bought into the lie that they think that they'll be rich and powerful and it's going to last forever. And unfortunately, what we're going to witness as part of this, the pride is going to go before their fall, and they're going to fall pretty damn hard.
Well, I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. I will say this in the article, this is the one group, traditionally progressive activists, the Women's Liberation Front, are the ones that sent the letter to the governor. They were one of these people that are like, oh no, transgender women need love too. They're women. You don't have to menstruate in order to be a woman. You don't have to be able to have an ovaries to be a woman. Now they're the people that are crying wolf, literally. Ironically, that's their name. And saying that,
why don't we call them science deniers? Because that's exactly what they are. How can they, on one hand, believe one thing about science, supposedly, but yet on the other hand, disagree with the actual science? It's this weird dichotomy they have in their brain somehow, that they hold these two opposing beliefs that don't mix, shouldn't mix. The circle doesn't square. And unfortunately, the problem that we have is we tend to think logically and use facts and data and things of that nature to formulate our thoughts and beliefs. They don't do that. They apparently lack that portion of the DNA, or they've had a little bit too much soy or atrazine or something in their diet. I don't know what it is, but they totally lack that. They don't have the ability to think in the same constructive way that we do.
Yeah, I do think, though, again, that I'll always try to stand on the side of people learning. Like, I get it might only be one person out of 100, but I'm always hopeful for that one person. Just like, it took something for me to wake up. But I did it. So I'm always hoping that whatever that one thing is for those people, they will do it.
Well, there's something to both of the points that you both just said. What is it that makes them trust or not go down the path and be able to handle, this seemingly conflicting information? We remember what the narrative was 6 months ago, but do they? No, they don't, because they trust that, things might evolve. The science is evolving, type of thing, right? Where think about the impeachment following the 6th. It was all about Trump. Trump was the one that incited everything. Yet now all the news is about, it was so pre-planned. Didn't you guys see the FBI just let everyone know, even though they have an ongoing investigation, they sent this to the media that they confiscated a Lego set of the Capitol from one of the people that was arrested from the riots. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say riot? I meant insurrection, right? So they have these people. So all of a sudden now it is totally okay and organic for them, that the investigation has evolved to the point where now they're like, oh, it wasn't Trump. Oh, it was totally planned. Well, okay, well, how do you, like Breaking said, how do you circle that square with that? Because you can't really just call it an evolving narrative, because then they can't, if they embrace the evolving narrative, well, that means that the impeachment was wrong. That assertion then was wrong, but that's the part that they can't they can't resolve. They can't what's the word? They can't reconcile. That's the right word. They can't reconcile those two opposing positions, even though the narrative has changed. The same way that, say, the science is evolving. It's and it comes into, and the way this relates into what you were just saying, Sopho, is that they have put this trust into the media system, the same way you might hold and hold opinions of certain professions above board, that you can't question that. The same way that they did the whole trust the science thing, right? This is the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, well, 97% of the scientists say that climate change is caused by man-made causes. Well, okay, did you look into that? Oh no, this is because that's what they said. Well, when you really look into that, you see that a lot of those people were their funding and their grants were dependent upon that opinion. Then you'll also find that they adjusted a lot of the previous data and they basically adjusted past measurement data in order to fit a curve. Interesting. So
Pinata, finish the saying. Lies, damn lies, and
I don't know this one. You said it. I
statistics.
Lies,
damn lies, and statistics. They can bend the data to make it whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Picked.
I mean, it's just like, do they not remember the whole? It's going to be Leonard Nimoy over a voiceover doing like, it's going to be we're going to have the freeze. Everyone's going to have spiking heating costs in the 70s, right? And then or like Al Gore saying that we shouldn't really have Florida anymore by now, but everything there is fine. Then you got Obama's buying a property at sea level. Everything's fine there. So it's the same kind of thing where where in past times they said just knowledge of certain things and keeping certain knowledge hidden, it basically creates a power differential. When you have a power differential, you can exploit it if you're an evil SOB. So they would say, oh, look, I can make the sun disappear, and they just happen to know that was when an eclipse was going to happen. Well, I mean, it's the same kind of thing they're doing now with climate change. They're trying to show, hey, we have this knowledge. Well, they're not showing us. They understand that there are solar cycles and this and that. There are cycles of the planet. Like, so by knowing that and knowing where we are in that, they can essentially say, oh, we can quote unquote predict this is what's going to happen, and therefore create a situation in which they can exploit.
Yeah.
What holiday did we just come away from here? What was that called again?
Independence Day.
Declaration of Independence. We reserve the right as we the people to alter or abolish and throw off the bans. Huh.
Yeah, see, this is why we needed you, because during my 10 to 15 minute diatribe before we went live, I was struggling to find that quote.
If you would just read the Declaration of Independence, you would see it right there.
I know, but I was in the middle of a rant.
Oh, all right.
Well, I will tell you what, it's gotten to the part to if y'all want to talk about the election stuff, because I think Pinata, are you prepared now to reevaluate the 10 minutes that you went over this perfect dialogue that no one
Sure.
heard?
And I think I can cut it down to 5 now.
Well, no breakings here, so y'all are liable to go on for a minute. But saying that, I'm going to shut down then the YouTube side because we're talking about that. No, can't talk about this stuff over here. But I dropped the link out there for the link tree and all the stuff that we're on. So guys, pop over there if you want to. And with that,